live now, and now I'm gonna start recording.
Okay, great. So I'll say again, I'm Sandy Scott. It's nice to see everybody, and we'll make sure to get around and introduce the new faces. This open meeting of the Youth Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, the town of Northborough has been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. All members of the Youth Commission are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows the Youth Commission to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. Okay. What I'm going to do now is confirm that the persons who are expected to be here are here and can be heard. So when I call your name, if you could respond in the affirmative. And I hope I can get everyone's names correctly. Casey Rickley, you're muted, so there we go.
Here.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Lily Nahum? Lily, are you, there she is. Can you unmute, Lily, and so we can hear your voice?
I'm here.
Okay, great. Thanks, Gilly. Gretchen Bean.
Yes. Hello.
Great, thank you. Joan Clementi. Joan, can you unmute and say hello?
Here.
Thank you. Sherry Clark.
Yes, here.
Hi, Sherry.
Hi.
Raphael is not here. He's our student liaison. And Jennifer, we haven't met, but I see Dr. Jennifer Lipton on the list there.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, and
Nice to
Doreen.
be here.
Thank you. Nice to have you. Doreen?
Yes,
Okay, and are you a new member as well?
I am the new administrative assistant in the Family and Youth Services Department.
Wonderful. I'm sorry I didn't have your name on my list here.
That's quite all right.
And I will also ask each of the staff. Now we've already covered Doreen. Ayako?
Yeah, I'm here.
Great, thank you. And Joan?
I'm here.
June, sorry. I said
That's okay.
Joan, looking at the list. June.
It's all new to us.
Yes, okay. I'm going to cover the ground rules as prescribed for the meeting. The chair, which is me, will invite each speaker or applicant on the agenda by name to make a presentation and speak to their application. Ayako, do I need to go through all this? You sent me this material. I'm not sure. This is
No, you don't need to. So you can just
Okay.
start the meeting.
okay. In that case, do we have a motion to start the meeting? Would someone like to make a motion?
I move to start the meeting.
Somebody second?
I second, Joan.
Thank you. Wonderful. Great, thank you. Okay. June, do you want to take over at this point?
Sure. So the date of our next meeting is going to be May 20th, 2021. It's a Thursday evening at 7. and it will be another virtual meeting. And with no minutes to review, I thought we would do introductions so we can say, you know, who we are, what our role is. And I also thought it would be nice if people could share something nice that someone did toward them over the past year, or you did for someone else. So I'll start. So I'm June David Forrest. I'm the Director of Family and Youth Services. I've been here for a little over 14 years. And I'm really glad to see our board, I think, is almost full, which is amazing. That hasn't happened in a while. So we have some new people joining us, which is always exciting. So with this past year, you know, being a social worker and also majoring in sociology, I've made a lot of notes of how people are behaving in public, including myself. And so, you know, we've gone through some shifts in moods, and I've noticed a lot of people losing their temper very easily and getting angry very easily. So I've tried not to get defensive about it, and I've tried to remain calm. But I think a good example that happened to me that was an eye-opener is I was recently in Dunkin' Donuts in town. And, you know, people have their masks on, they're 6 feet behind, everybody's behaving. And so it's rather embarrassing. I go to the same Dunkin' Donuts, and the woman behind the counter will yell out, "June, do you want your coffee with your 6 creams this week?" And it's really embarrassing, but it's funny. So she also yelled out, "Does anyone else in line want any food?" They're very efficient there. This is the one by the Rotary. So this gentleman behind me yelled out that he wanted a bagel. So like a minute goes by, and then he says, he's behind me, and he says, Miss, and I'm like, this is my reaction in my head. Oh my God, I have my friggin' mask on. What is the problem? So I turn around, and he says, Miss, will you make sure you tell the lady behind the counter that I want to pay for your coffee and bagel today? And I was like, oh, how sweet. And a woman across the convenience store yelled, "That's so nice." So it just tells you about the times these days. So who would like to go next?
I can go next, June. I'm Gretchen Bean. How long have I been on the Youth Commission, June? A long time,
It's
it
been
feels
a
like.
long time, several years. Yeah.
Yeah. I am a parent of 2 children here in Northborough. My daughter Claire is going to be starting high school in the fall. My
Wow.
son's in 4th grade. I know he's going into 5th grade in the fall. So it's been quite a year. They spent most of the year at home in standalone remote, but they've both recently switched over to Claire's going to be starting after the vacation. Paul started a couple weeks ago back in person at Lincoln Street. And I'm also a teacher at the Robert E. Milliken Middle School. I've been there. This is my 21st year teaching there.
Wow.
So I've never worked anywhere else. Anyway, so yes, yes, as I said, it's been quite a year, and so many lovely blessings have come from it, believe it or not. But I guess in terms of nice things people have done, I am still having people deliver groceries to my house. So I feel like that's a really lovely thing. And I just, every time they bring up the stuff, I think this is just really people helping out other people. So I'm very
Yes.
grateful for that.
Nice. Thanks. Who would like to go next? Sandy?
Hold on, I'll go next. I'm Sandy Scott. I have been on the Youth Commission, I think even longer than Gretchen, for a long time. I'm not sure how many years now. I'm a parent, although my children are now out of school and off on their own, they're adults. I'm a grandparent, but my grandchildren don't live in town. You know, I whenever I'm put on the spot like this, I can't remember a good story. And I know there's been a lot, I feel very blessed. This has been a really, really tough year for so many people. And I just feel very lucky. My husband and I get along. We enjoy doing things together. We've managed to not drive each other crazy. I'm so pleased that I have online. I was really fumbling with Zoom because this is not the computer I normally use, but I do two Zoom classes that I've been doing during the pandemic. My family has stayed healthy. My parents are in their late 80s and they got vaccinated in February, and their place where they've lived has been caring and wonderful. And I just feel so blessed and lucky that, for us, it's been definitely a weird year. I haven't seen my kids hardly at all. I haven't seen my grandkids at all, other than by Zoom. But it's not been horrible for us. I feel very blessed and lucky and grateful.
Thank you for sharing that, Sandy.
Pass along, okay?
And I have to say that I hate icebreakers. And I was thinking about doing this and I said, June, how can you do this? It's like, and I was reading all these different ones and it's like, no way. But I just felt like it'd be nice to touch base. So anything anyone wants to share is fine.
Hi, Joan. It's Joan.
Hi, Joan.
Hi. I think it's nice to have this icebreaker, especially since we haven't seen each other in a long while.
I know.
I've been on the Youth Commission going on 28 years now. And I've been chair, assistant chair, secretary, but failed miserably at that. And now a participant. The thing that my husband and I did that was nice this year is my son's in-laws, they have a very sick son, and the father is very sick with Parkinson's. So we brought a few dinners over to them, and it's in Hyde Park. And believe me, that's no easy feat getting there, especially when they have in Hyde Park that street name twice in the town. But and then I felt my son surprised us. He lives in Poland, and he surprised us, even though I was nervous with COVID, with a visit coming home from Poland. And this was surely a blessing because after Christmas, a week after Christmas, he's only 34 and he had a stroke. And he, the day he had the stroke, it was really touch and go. So we were so blessed to get him to, he was in a hospital that wasn't that great, to MGH, and then that he was here and not in Poland, and that, he's making a full recovery. So, we've had quite a few prayers answered. So that is my story.
So glad he's making a recovery and you get to see him.
We did see him, but he's back in Poland now. He's not one to stay down no matter what.
I'm glad to hear he's doing okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Wow.
Shall I continue? I'm Gilly.
Oh, please.
I'm Gilly. I'm not sure how many years I'm in the committee. Sivan, when did you start there? Okay, she says around 5 years ago. So that's when I started. I came with her and then I just joined. I have 4 kids and Sivan is my youngest, so I don't have any kids in school anymore. Not in Northborough. Sivan is a junior in college. I think I was blessed this year because my family is all safe and we all kept our jobs. And even though since May, I'm going every day to work in UMass, we are getting tested every week and
Mhm.
we didn't get sick. So I think it's blessing. That's it.
Nice.
Would anyone else like to go? Jennifer?
So, since I'm new, I'm Jennifer Lipton. This is my first meeting, so thank you all for including me. I'm excited to be part of the commission. I live in town and I have two sons, one who's in 4th grade and one who's in 7th grade. And like Gretchen, I also work in the district, so I'm the school psychologist at the high school. So I've been thinking about joining for a couple of years now, and I kind of felt like now seems like the best time with everything that's been going on. So just excited to hear, you know, the work that everybody's doing. So
Welcome.
Thanks.
thank you. It's nice meeting everybody.
Nice meeting you too.
Welcome.
I'm Sherry. I'm also brand new. And like Jennifer, I had thought about doing this for a number of years, but waited until my kiddos were kind of at an age where things are a little less hectic at my house.
Mhm.
I have 3 kids. My son is now out of the district and in college. And then I have a freshman at the high school and a 4th grader at Z School. And then I'm the director at youth formation at Trinity Church in town. And I'm just excited about doing this. My kind thing that was done, I recently posted asking where a certain spice was sold that I hadn't used before in a recipe. And I actually had a friend drive over a baggie of it for me just so I could make
Oh.
dinner. So
Oh,
that was very nice.
very nice. Thank you.
I can go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know if I could unmute myself on my phone. This is Casey Rickley. I have been on the youth commission for almost 2 years now, but obviously the whole past year has been a wash, so really only 1 year. And I have 2 small kids in town, a 4 and a 6-year-old, who also were home full time until last month. So I'm very happy to no longer have both of my kids at home all day, every day anymore. Yeah, nice things over the pandemic, you know, a group of our friends who also have young kids that play together. We all sort of kind of happened organically, but have all done this sort of round robin surprise treat drop off. So like, you know, on a Saturday or a Sunday, we might bring donuts over to all the other friends and they might come another day and drop off cookies or whatever it is. So that's been nice for everyone to just have, you know, a nice little surprise.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
I guess I'll go next. As I mentioned, I'm the new administrative assistant for the Department of Family and Youth Services. My name is Doreen Jenna. I am a recently retired school teacher. I taught in the city of Worcester as a math teacher for over 20 years. I would say that as far as niceness goes, and I'm sure they would have done it for anyone, I have to thank June and Ayako for being very kind and welcoming. Going into a career that was totally different from teaching, there was a lot of apprehension, and they certainly have made the transition fairly seamless, shall I say. So I'm very glad to be a part of the department, and I was looking forward to meeting all of you.
Great. Thank you. Ayako, do you?
Sure. I think my name is Meeting One. Or I'm Ayako Reese. I'm the counselor at the Family and Youth Services. I've been here almost 6 years, not quite yet. So I don't live in this town, but I have 2 little kids. And the last year was pretty hectic with the life change and then some family emergency. And the nice thing that was my neighbor really helped us a lot. That they made us meals, and they asked their landscaper to mow our lawn, and we live in a really nice neighborhood, but we really appreciated their help.
Nice.
So I believe everybody spoke.
Yes.
And so we're on to the director's report. So as you can imagine, it's been a very interesting year at the department. It actually, things started off eerily quiet. So the town manager got us all together on Zoom pretty quickly. And both the police, fire, and our department didn't hear a lot from people, which was very surprising to all of us. I think that people were just in shock in the beginning, and I think it took a couple months when people became unfrozen and were thinking about, you know, other than their immediate needs, what their plans were. Can people hear me okay? Okay. So what happened at Town Hall is on March 17th, on St. Patrick's Day, the Town Hall closed to the public, which was quite upsetting to the community, but needed to be done. And John, the town manager, and Greg, the superintendent of schools, got us all together, and we met very, very often to do planning on how we were going to run things in this new environment. So quickly, we were asked to develop co-op plans, which include what our schedule would be and how, with the town hall closed, and how we would continue to deliver services to residents. So we quickly adjusted and adapted to Zoom. When I say quickly, our services were available for residents, at least over the phone, but it was a learning curve, learning Zoom and going into that whole new world. But residents were very open. We called all our active clients and gave them the information, and continually posted on the town website. You know, Andy, the town clerk, was fantastic in terms of posting updated information, because as you know, things changed rapidly every day. So what I did a lot of reading about was, with this pandemic, everybody was talking about the health impact, the physical health impact of people dying, and, you know, not knowing a lot about it and how to deal with it. But there was a lot written through the United Nations about the mental health impact, and that the isolation and the sudden loss of family members or neighbors, and speaking about it, comparing it to a traumatic event that's occurred. So we ended up reaching out to the residents. The senior center in our department were coming together to develop programs and or reach out to our community partnerships to get food to people, to make sure that people had fuel, electricity. So there was a lot of that we did. What we found was that with telehealth, the kids just weren't buying into it. I mean, even the Zoom meetings, they were the ones, I think, that it got impacted by the most. We continued to reach out with them. I ended up going, you know, with the family I went and saw and did a home visit. They would tell me they were healthy, no temperatures, and I would tell them the same. You know, they had 3 couches in the house. We sat very separated from each other with our masks. And the difference in the session was amazing. So it says a lot about in-person services. Less so, I think, with the adults. I'm not sure, Ayako, what your experience was with that. Was it similar?
Yeah, it is interesting that many of my clients, like especially teenagers, they prefer the telephone call over the Zoom. So that's my experience.
Mm-hmm. And of course, our community partnerships, you know, we're able to give grocery store gift certificates and gas cards, and, you know, the churches, Helping Hands, the food pantry, they were all there to help out. Then the big thing that happened, that in my 14 years, I'm so excited about this because I've seen over the years the need for counseling. I had written quite a lengthy proposal for more staffing, longer than I usually do each year, to John. And what happened is he met with me and he was asking questions about the proposal, and was talking about, you know, adding staff and the costs that are associated with that. So then I said, I do have another, I was sort of holding out about Interface because I really wanted to get another staff in here. So I said, John, I have, you know, another proposal I'd like to talk to you about, but I want to finish talking about the staffing issue. And then I told him about Interface, which is through William James College, who we have internships with. We've had a relationship with them in that area. They have a program called Interface Referral Service. They have a huge database of clinicians, therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists all over Massachusetts. And if a town buys into it, then they have access to that information. So it cost, the proposal was $16,000 a year. You had to buy 2 years worth. The benevolent fund was wonderful in supporting our first year. So John was very, very excited about it. And he said, why haven't you told me about this before? And I said, well, I just learned about it. And plus I wanted to try to get some staff. So we got that in place. People call the number and they are hooked up with a therapist within 2 to 3 weeks. This is unheard of. People have told us they're on a wait list for 3 months to 6 months to a year. So it's really been a very positive addition to our services. And it's for the whole town of Northborough. You don't have to call us to call the referral, to call Interface Referral Service. And we did some presentations to the community, to the schools. I did an article on it recently in the Community Advocate. And the thing for me is that one of my biggest concerns here is getting calls from people. And with us being the last resort for counseling in town, we ended up having 28 families on the wait list. And it was really, really painful to have that. And so this is just such a wonderful resource that, you know, gives us some relief too. So that was the big news for programming. Did anyone have any? Yes, Jen.
I hope this is appropriate to add that I personally referred numerous families to the Interface system. It's a phone number and there's also a website that's easy to use. And I heard multiple families say that they've been connected with therapists pretty quickly. It's not always within 2 weeks, but much quicker than a lot of the wait lists. So I can attest to it being a very effective.
It's really great to hear. And what Interface had told us is it was taking longer than like 2 to 3 weeks because the increase of mental health issues because of the pandemic was really catching them off guard. So I'm glad to hear that.
If I can just, this is Casey. I
Yes.
can attest to the service from the other side because I am a therapist and I have started getting a lot of inquiries from Interface, not necessarily Northborough residents, but I can also say that when they reach out on my side,
Mhm.
they are great. Like they just send an email, they say this is the age of the kid, this is the issue, this is their availability, this is their insurance.
Wow.
And yeah, so they make it super straightforward for the provider too.
That's really good to hear.
John, are you, I know that you've often had a wait list even in the past before the pandemic. Are you seeing the numbers are a lot higher?
In terms of the counseling,
demand? Yeah.
you know, I expected it would be higher. Maybe what's going on, I know Interface gives us a report 2 to 3 times a year of statistics and different information. And so we had it beginning in July, but I wasn't aware we had gone live because we were working out the details of the funding. So as of December, we had gotten 15 and another 26, they said, people that were referred there. And it's sounding like they're getting a lot more. So that's taking the pressure off of us having a wait list. We don't have a wait list. Now, one of the interesting things I'm curious about is, you know, we will still take some families that need counseling. But for people with insurance and who can afford to do this, we'd like to, you know, refer them first to that. But Ayako and I still have a caseload, so we will still do some counseling. So the personnel update is, as you see, Doreen is with us. We did some interviewing and she was the top candidate and we're so excited that she accepted it. And this week was the first week that we have all been in the office together in person. So it's nice to see I really have staff, they're alive, they come in. Because we've been like one person at a time has been in the office. So it's been very, very quiet for the year. And then we also have Abdul Latif Al-Jabbar, who is a William James College graduate internship. He's been with us since September. He's been a great addition. He speaks Arabic and he has picked up some cases. He works with an older resident and he works with a little girl and a family. So he's been a great addition also. Then I was going to mention about the budget for this year. So the benevolent fund paid for the first year of Interface. And without even asking me, John put the second year of the funding in our budget. So that's the first time we've had a big hit on the budget. So that's good.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to touch base with members and any updates you can give us about what's going on in the community, the schools, with residents.
Well, the high school and the middle school will be fully returning in a week. So that's a big change.
Now, do you think that, do you have a sense of if people are feeling good about that or if folks are nervous?
Gretchen, you want to go first on that one?
I mean, I think it's like so many things this year, you know, or more. There's mixed feelings, mixed emotions. I think, you know, staff wise, I know we all feel much better now that many of us have gotten the vaccine, which I think really kind of, at least for me, makes a big difference. You know, to me, I got the Johnson and Johnson actually before I knew everything going on with that one, but it's kind of good that I didn't know that I had anything to be worried about. But anyways, that's fully set in to me, so I feel good about that. And the kids are again mixed. I think a lot of them have struggled with the hybrid learning model. Um, so I think they're excited to come back full time, but I think it's just like a lot of things, you know, what's that expression? I think they're realizing too that there's downsides to being back in school every day and waking up and getting into that routine. But I think in the long run, blessing and a curse, I guess. But I think it's going to be great. I think we all need to get back into a more typical routine. But really, there's been things so much we've learned about teaching remotely, and I know that there are kids who really are thriving in the standalone remote program. So I think it's going to be a good. Going to give us a lot of food for thought about what school is and how we can make school work for different kids, and some different tools now that we have that we didn't before. So I don't know, that was sort of long-winded, but Jen, I think, right, kind of mixed emotions.
Yeah, I mean, everything you said, absolutely. That's what we're seeing at the high school. And we even had student surveys asking them what they're excited about, what they're worried about, you know, what their thoughts are. And actually last week we did a webinar with the principal, like actually presented some of that data, what kids were thinking and what we're doing to try to support them. And actually I've had a few like coffees with the school psychologist to kind of get, you know, talk to parents about how to support their kids. And I think, so we've tried to, because at the high school, you know, there are a lot of people who have a lot of different feelings about it. And it's a big building. So there's a lot of kids coming back. So, you know, we've tried to just support all the students for whatever their situation is, where, you know, whatever they're dealing with, whether they loved hybrid, hated it, or excited to come back or scared. You know, we realize everybody's kind of dealing with this differently. So we're trying to just meet every student where they are and every family. But I hope, you know, I hope everybody's safe and makes good choices, those teenagers. Right,
Sherry and Casey, what about you with kids in school?
So I would say I hear the same thing. It's definitely a mixed bag between parents and kids. I do have a fourth grader, so I've already experienced the going back full time for my fourth grader. And what I will say is we've been fortunate. I work from home a majority of the time, and this was not a difficult year for us in terms of having the kids home and seeing my children and doing remote. But the first day back, it struck me on the walk home with my daughter just how much she had missed seeing everybody in person. There was a lot of, this person's grown so much, and lots of air hugs when they got to school. And that really hit me, that even though it wasn't difficult, there was still stuff going on, like affecting my fourth grader. My high schooler missed the end of all the special 8th grade stuff, missed all the special high school starting stuff. She could not be more excited to be going back fully in person. But I will also say on the parental end, with what has seemed like a little bit of an uptick of quarantining of classrooms, I'm a little nervous as well about just the sheer number of kids at the high school and what that's going to look like, you know, when there is a case or two, and how it affects the general population.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I have a kindergartner, so this has been, you know, she was at remote for a while, and then she went back when they went back full time. And I'm lucky because, you know, this is just school for her. So it hasn't really been like, this is weird. She just thinks every day is the best day of her life. And school is great. And she loves her teacher and she loves her friends. And so far, so good for us. And the school has been great. So, you know, it's kind of worked out well to have kids so young with the with the reentry.
Thanks. June, you're muted. Do you want to?
Is there any other business that we haven't covered?
It's not really business, June. I'm
Okay.
just curious. When was that? When was the last time we met prior to?
I think it was March, February or March.
Gonna
It's almost,
say.
it's been a year.
Yeah.
We made attempts to do, so Ayako is graciously learning how to host the meetings. And she's been through trainings. And what happened is at first, when the town started, after a couple months, started getting back to having meetings, public meetings, you know, they had to purchase license through Zoom and had to go through all these protocols. And then there were only a couple staff, department directors, fire chief, the finance director, and the MIS director who had been trained in doing these meetings. So they were out straight. So you'd have to put in to get a meeting, for them to host a meeting. And it was impossible to get. So what happened is the town hired a gentleman named Jim, who they hired specifically to do the meetings, because all these meetings were at night and these few staff were working, day and night. So he was hired recently. We tried to set up a couple meetings, but we weren't able to get a host. So Ayako has now been trained in that.
I was just thinking, I feel like our meeting that we had was like one of the last things I did before.
Yes.
Are you remembering that too?
Yes. It's amazing.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, it's really nice to see you all and to have some new members and new staff member. And as always, I'm inspired after I have these meetings, and I look forward to getting back on track.
Okay. Somebody want to make a motion? We have to make a motion to close, don't we?
I'm making a motion to close.
Thanks, Gilly. Somebody want a second, please?
I'll second, Joan.
Thank you, Joan. It's wonderful to see everybody.
Same here.